Welcome to the chair. Tonight we're talking about Pakistan-India relations and the Sindoor attacks. With me tonight is Dr. Yasir Masood, a senior political commentator, researcher and academic from Pakistan. Now, in the wake of the Pahalgam attack on April 22nd, which claimed 26 lives, India launched Operation Sindoor, a targeted military strike against alleged terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan-administered Kashmir and Pakistan. The operation, described by Indian officials as focused and non-escalatory, aimed at camps linked to groups such as Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba, notably in Bahawalpur and Mudrike. Pakistan condemned the strikes as aggression, reporting civilian casualties and retaliating by downing Indian aircraft. The incident underscores the perennial volatility of Kashmir, a region both nuclear-armed nations have contested since 1947. So, welcome to the show, Yasir. It's nice to have you here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Yeah. You must be very busy at the moment, I imagine, with tensions so high.
Absolutely, yes. Very busy, and it's a very tense time
Yes,
for me, for my family, and for my country.
of course. Yes, that's right. There's always a personal connection, isn't there? So what is your assessment of the attacks on Pakistan and Pakistan-controlled Kashmir? And is there a danger for escalation or even war?
Let me give you a bit of background to Pahalgam attack. This is not the first time that India has conducted this kind of false flag operation inside Kashmir. And because of that, they have lost 26 civilians and plus 40 people are injured. And right after 5 minutes, on Indian media, there was a kind of extreme mayhem. There was a lot of hoo-ha against Pakistan without any investigation, without any FIR. All the blame was thrown against Pakistan as a nation, against Pakistan military forces. And there was one of the factions of Lashkar-e-Taiba, as you just mentioned in your intro. They accepted the responsibility, but later on they denied because they claimed that their media cell was being hacked and used for this kind of blame against this militant organization, which according to India is prevalent in Kashmir and also in Pakistan. Anyhow, as I mentioned that this is not the first time, let me give you a series. 2001, there was an attack in India, which was a false flag operation. Then again in 26 November 2008, Mumbai attack. September 2016, India's Uri base attack. February 2019, Pulwama attack. Now, the bigger question rises that why India is doing this. I would say not India, but the current BJP government, Bharatiya Janata Party. And let me tell you that this is the 100 years of the RSS organization, which is the mother organization of BJP party. BJP party is the mouthpiece of RSS, a political wing. The party was formed by the inspiration of Nazis Germany in 1925. And the main motive was to expel all from India, expel all minorities from India. We see a completely different India today under the mentorship of the BJP. So their aim is to have a greater India, just like a greater Israel. The hatred is so much strongly embedded in this party. Don't forget that Prime Minister Modi in 2005 was banned to visit to the UK and United States of America on account of the pogrom in Gujarat, which he engineered. Then he was the CM of Gujarat. That's why he is commonly known as the butcher of Gujarat. Let me also tell you that not only against Pakistan, India caught red-handed by state terrorism while killing some Sikh leaders in United States of America, in Canada, in many other Southeast Asian nations. Recently, 10 Indian spies were caught red-handed in Qatar, and I think they were punished as well. We are very unfortunate to have a neighbor like India.
Well, so why do you think India chose this moment to attack both the Pakistani-controlled Kashmir and inside Pakistan itself? Because that's unusual, isn't it? I mean, that they've actually sent missiles into Pakistan proper.
Yeah, this time around it was not LOC. This time around it was mainland Pakistan. India targeted sleeping civilians, 26 up until now, and more than 40 are injured, and some of them are critical, including children, including women. This was not an attack on Pakistan's military installations, you can call it in other words. It was a purely attack against the civilians. Now, coming to your question, according to Indian calculation, that this was the right time for India to attack, because India think that there is a lot of polarization in Pakistani society these days. There is a kind of distance between Pakistani military and Pakistani nation. Pakistan is economically probably is under hot waters for many years. So I think the kind of religious extremism, militancy, and terrorism which India has fomented in Pakistan for many years. Yeah, let's not forget, we have the Indian serving naval officer still detained in Pakistan. He is in Pakistan custody. He was detained in 2016. He has accepted the terror network. He has been operating inside Balochistan and different parts of Pakistan. One very important point I would like to mention that Pakistan's Prime Minister and also the Chief of Army Staff openly been calling for an impartial and independent inquiry into Pahalgam attack. Why India did not accept that?
So how is it that Islamic groups are able to operate inside both the Pakistani-controlled Kashmir and Pakistan, as India alleges? That's clearly there are some activities operating within Pakistan. I think everybody accepts that. Why is it that the Pakistan military cannot control this?
Look, this war is very complicated. Pakistan is up against a different kind of warfare for last 2 decades, I would say, at least. And it is beyond any shadow of a doubt that we are the victim of militancy, extremism, and terrorism. Pakistan has lost more than 80,000 people as a front ally state against the war on terror since 9/11. There are different kinds of groups, as I mentioned, that they have a support, mentorship from Afghanistan and as well as from India. Why Pakistan cannot control them? Because I would say that they are now franchised kind of elements which are prevalent in Pakistan. And these proxies are working for different, countries. And this is the gift which I think the United States of America has given to this region in the form of Al-Qaeda, in the form of TTP, in the form of BLA, in the form of Taliban in Afghanistan. These are the same people at one point, they were the Mujahideens against the USSR. Now Pakistan is suffering because of these kind of proxy warfare which is going on in Pakistan.
So do you think that there is a real possibility of war coming out of this, or is this going to be a controlled action and it's going to be generating narrative in media much more than it's going to actually turn into a war? Or do you think there's a real chance of actual military conflict on the line of control? And when I say military conflict, I mean open fighting between brigade or division level.
Yes, definitely possible. There is a reason for that, because the spokesperson of Pakistan Army has repeatedly said before India, provoked this war, that if India, we will not be the initiator, because there is no involvement of Pakistan whatsoever linking to Pahalgam attack. Now the war has been imposed against Pakistan. Let me tell you that 5 Indian jets have been shot down by Pakistan. 3 of them are Rafale, 1 is MiG, and 1 is SUV. This Pakistan has done as a defense, and Pakistan has every right, according to UN Charter, Pakistan has every right to choose its target and to retaliate. Sure. Pakistan will definitely retaliate. Let me tell you one more thing, that the current Chief of Army Staff of Pakistan he's a different breed. He's very clear in his thoughts. And I'm sure that he's not going to spare India this time. So, and the Pakistan's foreign minister, Pakistan's prime minister, the spokesperson of military, repeatedly been saying this, that if India attack or if India initiate, Pakistan will end the war and Pakistan will choose its target. This was just a defense which Pakistan did today. And I think Pakistan will definitely retaliate.
Yeah, see, what are the foundational issues? I mean, what's driving all of this tension? I mean, is it related to larger geopolitical goals, or is it, a sectarian, so Muslim, Hindu nationalism, or and as you just pointed out, the US putting their finger in there, supporting terrorism, Islamic groups, militant groups. Obviously Afghanistan for 20 years. What is really at the foundation of all of this? And is there some kind of mechanism by which those foundational problems can be addressed?
I think those foundational problems have now a deep-seated problem inside India. Let me tell you why. As I gave you a glimpse of the BJP current party, that they are fascist party. They have instilled a lot of jingoism into its media, into its people, and there are very bizarre kind of expeditions going on inside India, which are unreported. You and me, we don't see that over the media. Every day, on daily basis, Muslims are being lynched in India. There are anti-Muslim mobs, not only Muslims, all the minorities in India. Their mandate is that every other religion, people belonging to every other religion have no permission to live in India, because the Hindu state belongs to Hindus alone. This is the mandate of the BJP, including Muslims, including Sikh, including Christians, including Jains, and from any other religion. With this Pahalgam attack, I think there are two very important issues. Unilaterally, Indian government suspended the Indus Water Treaty, which was arranged and signed by both India and Pakistan in 1960, arranged by the World Bank. Pakistan was loud and clear by mentioning that if India tried to stop Pakistan's water by any means, that would be considered an act of war. Sure. I think India wants to have some kind of negotiations regarding the Indus Water Treaty. Then the second important thing is that in the first question you asked that why, when I mentioned about the series of the false flag operations which India has engineered, I think whenever Prime Minister Modi loses his ground in India on account of his political position, on account of certain accusation regarding his corruption, when there are sane voices in India, when they question the policies of Prime Minister of Modi and BJP against minorities and Muslims, I think another domestic election is coming up. So this was a perfect ground for Prime Minister Modi, like in the previous episodes of the false flag operations, because Indian politics is based on anti-Muslims inside India and anti-Pakistan sentiments. That's very unfortunate.
Mentioning the SCO mechanism. So both Pakistan and India are in the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, along with Russia and Iran and China, of course. Those are important neighbors, and the five stans inside Central Asia. So what do you think can be done inside the SCO? I haven't seen any mention of a special meeting being called, although I did see that Pakistan has asked Russia to mediate. So what are your thoughts on that?
The SCO's mandate is not serve the purpose of bilateral issues. SCO platform was made for the purpose of collective security between the member states. Pakistan and India, 2017, are the member states of Shanghai Cooperation Organization. So directly, of course, there is no mechanism available where, SCO can resolve any bilateral issues between two member states. However, having said this, it can still work as a platform to ease the tensions maybe, on the sidelines or directly or indirectly.
Mm.
And if there are any economic aspirations of India to Central Asia, Pakistan cannot stop that under the banner of the SCO. India is already working on the Chabahar port in Iran, has investment there.
Yeah.
It has a land route now from Chabahar to Afghanistan and then to Central Asia. India is pouring in fund into international north-south transport corridor,
Yeah.
which of course Pakistan cannot stop because all of these projects are actually part and parcel of the SCO as well.
Mm.
So India has no one can stop India if they have any aspirations of having, a strong foothold in the Eurasian markets.
India, of course, one of its grievances is, and one of its ambitions is always to have direct land access into Central Asia, which is clearly Kashmir blocks that. So, and also, of course, a small part of China. What can be done about that? I mean, that's clearly a grievance for India. I mean, they're working with, as you just mentioned, in SCO to have access into Central Asia via Iran, but they don't have a land route. So, what do you think about that? I mean, is that ever going to be possible, or how might such a thing be done?
I think it's not possible having, under the current scenario and situation. Let me take you back to 5 August 2019. India's revocation of Article 370, stripping independent status of Kashmir, which was Indian-controlled Kashmir. And even now, Indus Water Treaty, Pakistan has now said that Pakistan can abrogate the Shimla Agreement, which can create further chaos between both countries. The only way out is to have a plebiscite in Kashmir.
Right.
That's a long-standing problem from 1947 under the UN Charter, under the international law, that there has to have a plebiscite, which is still pending. Unfortunately, since India and Pakistan was created under the under the British colony, and because of the mapping and because of the lines which they draw abruptly, and with this kind of abrupt partition, we are still suffering, having the brunt of this kind of issues between India and Pakistan. Until and unless there is a plebiscite in Kashmir, it will create more problems. And I think China is keeping a very close eye on Kashmir as well, because some of the part, as you mentioned, Aksai Chin, is part of China as well. China can play a very positive role to ease the tension.
What about the recent visit by J.D. Vance, the Vice President, United States Vice President, to India? Now, what happened there? India's been designated a major defense partner by the US, and there is a connection with the India Compact, which is, the idea is to strengthen defense and technology production, including munitions and maritime systems, which relates, of course, to the Quad. And India is going to be hosting the Quad Leaders Summit, and clearly the Quad is set up to counter China and to try and control supply chains, maritime supply chains around Eurasia, South China Sea, and around to India. And clearly India has an interest in controlling the Indian Ocean. Clearly that's why they want to, they're worried about CPEC and Gwadia, right? And that's why they've opened their port in Iran. So what do you think about that? Do you think the US is basically throwing Pakistan under the bus, and now it's thinking about India as its only partner in South Asia?
I think Pakistan has already been used against Soviet Union in the past, and then after 9/11 for 20 years. I think Pakistan is of no worth to United States. Probably that is why with India, they have found a new love affair. As you mentioned, that it's clear that it's comes under the China containment policy, and to give as much as leverage to India as possible, because under the current trade and tariff war between United States and China, as you are fully aware, that in United States of America is trying to strengthen and embolden new allies. And of course, India is a big market, 1.3 billion of people and fifth largest economy in the world. That's why United States of America is trying to, divert the global supply chains to India and to contain China, of course. Now, this is not the only, reason. There are deeper reasons as well, as you mentioned about China-Pakistan economic corridor.
Yeah.
And then if we see this in a bigger picture, of course, this is against the Belt and Road Initiative, which India has never accepted, and United States of America has always rejected and been opposing. And China-Pakistan economic corridor is the flagship project of the Belt and Road Initiative, and Gwadar Port has a very important strategic pivot. That is the reason that there are multi-layered of policies to contain China in this region. Now, another important factor is that this coming time is the time of hydrocarbon reserves. And Balochistan, the province of the Gwadar Port, is replete with a lot of natural resources, mineral resources, rare earth natural resources as well, and hydrocarbon reserves. That gives a big leverage, a big advantage to China, because the distance cut shorts to only 3 days, land route, straight away from Xinjiang to the warm waters, to the Indian Ocean.
That passes through Kashmir, right?
This is now under the Pakistani-administered Kashmir, but India claims it to be part of the Indian-controlled Kashmir as well. That's why they claim that it is going through a contested territory, but it's not. It is part of Pakistan. And then after the abrogation of Article 370, as I mentioned, India has no right to call it a part of India at all, because they have already stripped Kashmir of that special status. So if India has stripped off Kashmir from the special status, how India can now claim to have that territory, which is now part of Pakistan? So I think there are different, multiple kinds of objectives are at play. And that's why I think we see a very dangerous kind of relationship soaring high between India and United States.
But India still got a very, very strong relationship with Russia, and the India-China relationship, although there's tensions there, it's not tensions like it is with Pakistan. So it seems to me that any kind of reduction of tensions between Pakistan and India, that China is probably going to be involved. Do you think that's true, or how can we save lives and restore peace along the line of control?
Okay, why I said dangerous relationship? Because besides India is a big market, as you mentioned, even more than $100 billion worth of economic relations it carries with China, and also with Russia and with United States of America, with European countries, and with many other parts of the world. Russia, for that matter, has given a very neutral stance, which is surprising, having good relationships and historical relationships with India. I think India has lost its ground because it has not provided any kind of evidences of Pahalgam attack linking with Pakistan. That's why President Trump clearly said it's a shame what India did. And United States of America is even not happy, because nobody wants an escalation between the two. China has given a positive statement before even India provoked this war. Chinese foreign minister clearly said that they want to have restraint. They call for restraint from both sides. As China pumped in a huge investment in Pakistan in 2015, that was the first time Pakistan had a breathing space to focus on geoeconomics. Since Pakistan remained under the umbrella of geostrategic and proxy warfare, meanwhile, the smaller economies like Vietnam, like Cambodia, in Southeast Asia, they grew over time because of their better integration with China, because with better integration in global supply chains, Pakistan is still the least developed integrated country. But having said this, if
Yes.
Pakistan somehow is able to control and create peaceful environment, investment will flow. That's beyond any shadow of a doubt. Investment will flow in Pakistan because we are still a barren economy. We are still a virgin economy, wanting and begging for investment. Pakistan has a very strong and positive role against the militancy, extremism, and terrorism. But unfortunately, we are facing the brunt of militancy in our own country.
Yes. All right. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Dr. Yasir
My
Masood,
pleasure.
and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.